Okay, without further ado, we're going to get into our program. Here's how things are going to go today. We're going to give each one of the cities time up here to answer one specific question that they have been given before they came. A couple of people are not here. They're absent today, and we have someone giving a statement for them. So we are going to get started. Well, let me tell you what the question was first. What actions do you think your city could take to improve housing affordability for its current and future residents? So all of the candidates have that question. They've all come prepared, and we are starting out with Hurricane City. Our mayoral candidates are Nanette Billings and Clark Fawcett. Our city council candidates are Lynn Excel, Kevin Thomas, Michael Hershey, and David Imlay. So we're going to begin with Nanette since she's right here next to me, but would all of those other candidates go ahead and come up, and then we're going to pass the mic to you up here on the stage. And I'm going to hand the mic off to Nanette right now. Ready?
Thank you for accommodating me with a broken leg. I had a horse trample me, and it's been rough, so thanks for not making me get on the stairs. And thank you, all of you, for contributions to campaigns, and then also, especially like Stacy Young, to come over and spend time with our council to talk to us about power impact fees and things that need to be addressed within the city. I am really grateful for this group and your influence on our cities and the council and what we do. So housing affordability is one of the biggest challenges that we have and that's facing our community across the county. But it requires multiple-pronged approaches, not one. There's not one answer. And most of it, I'm going to say, it does not come from government. It comes from good, smart people and having a mastermind working on this with the developers. And encouraging a mixed housing use, like not just single-family homes, but also townhomes and smaller lots and accessory dwelling units. Hurricane City's recently passed an ordinance allowing 4,000 square foot lots. With Councilman Thomas' help with our planning commission, they've organized this so really you can't have a big home on this smaller lot, which makes so the footprint actually will be affordable. Something else, and especially for the first-time home buyers and seniors, if they're going to downsize, that is something that would really help them. The second is infrastructure, and it plays a huge part in this and in the affordability. And by planning ahead with water and roads and utilities, we can reduce those hidden costs that drive the housing prices up. The infrastructure means that developers are not passing that cost on to someone else, and a lot of times when we're developing the infrastructure in the beginning, then those other homes are not as expensive. Third, we can explore the private and public partnership. And I think it's important to realize that those incentives for workforce housing are available. Within Hurricane City, we have an ordinance for if you're working with us with affordable housing in that median income, that we will do a 50% reduction for impact fee, which I think is really important. We've also met with our economic development group, and we're working on some other things that would maybe help to allow that you pay an impact fee instead of at the time you're going to get a building permit, that you can pay it at the time you get a CO if you're building affordable housing, which will cost less for the developer to pay on that impact fee while they're building. Just the last thing is it's about balance. And we want to protect our small town character in Hurricane with open spaces, but we also need a plan for growth in a way that gives current residents the stability while making room for the next generation. And if we're protective and thoughtful, Hurricane can remain a place where families of all kinds can live and stay, and that's my hope. So I'm Nanette Billings, and I'm running for mayor in Hurricane for re-election.
Thank you, Nanette. Let's start with Clark and then go down the road.
Thank you for having us over here today. I appreciate that. And Nanette and I share a lot of the same values as far as some of the processes and stuff that we do and the things that are going on. But one of the things that I feel like is very important is to be able to make that partnership that she talked about. I've sat down with a couple of builders and developers already and asked them a few questions. I want to find out what obstacles they have towards doing affordable housing, because the incentives we have in our ordinance, either they don't know about them or else they're still not good enough. And we need to be able to sit down and be able to work with those to say, why can't you build an affordable house? You know, I want to be able to go into a banker and say, okay, if I got $50,000 a year, what kind of a loan could I get? What kind of a house can I buy at that level? 50, 60, 70, 80. I want to be able to see if we meet those, because I hear affordable housing prices thrown out all the time. I've got a son who lives with me that's making about 55. He'd never make it in any of those, and we may not get down to that level, but I'd like to be able to sit down with the developers and the builders and say, okay, what obstacles do you have, and what can we do on our side to be able to help some of those obstacles? You know, some of them have said, well, the homes that we like to build, and Kevin's mentioned, because he's designs homes and stuff, and as an architect, planner, and as he talks about it, a lot of the homes we have are built with more expensive materials. When I built a home, 40 years ago, it had linoleum and it had Formica countertops. I was on a federally subsidized loan. There was only certain things I could do. Our people today don't seem to want to have those same kind of things, but they still lasted a long time. They just weren't as costly. And as I've talked to some builders, they say, well, we can't get anybody that wants those. And I'm saying, well, then I'll go out and search as a city. We'll go out and get these people to come in. I know I can get a lot of them I've talked to that would be happy to sign up for a home if they had them. They're not out there trying to buy them from you guys because they know they can't afford them. But if they knew they had a home that could do that, and if we need to at the city, I'll get those people signed up. So if you build a home, I got a buyer for you. And I think there's things like that we can collaborate on and try to do it. I'm a very firm believer in these need to be spread out. I don't want a big complex in one place, because that tends to be over time, it gets run down, we have problems. I know that we have a lot of problems if people say, not in my backyard, I don't want next to me. And that's going to be a little bit of a problem. But I want to convince the people that we spread them out and they're better, so you don't have a lot of them. Infill development is one of the ones I'd like to see. We have some of those deep lots in Hurricane. I've got one behind me. I'd love to see them come in and put 3 or 4 homes down in there on an affordable basis. That gives us the infrastructure that's already in it, and so it's existing, it's available to be able to do it. And so if I can work with some people who would like to do some of those, I'd like to do some of those infill developments as well in order to provide the housing that's there. I know it's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to be something we got to all work together on. But in government, the thing that I want to make sure that I get out there is it's us. It's not us and them. And we have to solve the problem, and the city government's not going to do it. We have to have all the people in our communities to work together on it, so it's a problem we all need to serve.
My name's Kevin Thomas, and in 1993, I started a company called DrawWorks Quality Home Design. Many of you have been my clients. Over the years as a freelance home designer, I know what makes a home affordable and what makes it not affordable. Part of the issue is what we have become used to living in. I have clients that come in and they say, I need a home that's affordable, but they don't want 8-foot ceilings, they don't want Formica countertops, and they want all of the big stuff so that they can sell it for a big profit. And when I do get a client that wants a small, simple home that's easy to build and affordable, they can't find a lot because nobody that has developed property is willing to sell a lot to an individual home buyer for something like that. It's very difficult. So one of the things that I have done a year or so ago, I proposed a new ordinance for Hurricane City. It's called the R14. It's a 4,000 square foot lot with 25-foot front setbacks and a normal street size in the front so that it looks and feels like a normal subdivision. It's got 5-foot and 10-foot side yard setbacks, 10-foot rear setbacks. But the point of it is that the biggest home you can fit on that is about 1,300 square foot, 1,380 square foot footprint. That includes a single car garage or carport. And if you do build 2 stories, you're gonna get about 1,500 square foot. And the whole purpose of it is to force the small size of a home that will be simpler to build. I'm still working on trying to figure out how to help guide the construction of it so that you can't build with the more expensive materials. I don't want granite countertops in it. I don't want, those are the things that when you look up the prices of these things, granite is double. tile roofs are double over shingles. You look at the raw material cost, and there's a big difference. And so, as far as I'm concerned, that something that we can do as a city is to help encourage these smaller lots. I'm not a big fan of multi-story, high-density condominium housing. I don't think that's the solution to it, and I don't think deed restriction is a big help to the problem either. I think deed restrictions help foster the problem. Something else that I did when I was first elected to the council was I discovered that people in our city were not allowed to rent out their basements or a bonus room or any part of their home to live in. And so one of the first things I did was help craft our ordinances in such a way that you could rent out your basement, you could rent out your bonus room. And we created the ADU ordinances several years ago for that purpose. And it serves a great purpose for providing a place for people to live affordably as well as the tourist industry. I know how to do expensive homes. I've done an awful lot of million-dollar homes, multi-million-dollar homes. But I know what can make them affordable, and I think we need to implement ideas in the city that will help encourage and promote that in places. Thank you.
I'm Michael Hershey. I'm running for City Council in Hurricane. I want to thank you guys for putting this on. This is a great event to be able to get to know us candidates and see what we can do to help create a better life in here in this wonderful area that I call God's country. I'm a lifelong Hurricane resident. My family's been here for a long time, and I love this area. I truly love it, and I've felt a need to put my name in the hat so I can do what I can to continue the conservative values that we have here, that we have had here for many years, and I see those dissipating as each and every day. Just to go back, when I grew up in Hurricane, we didn't need to lock our doors. We could leave our vehicles open. I mean, not doors open, but didn't have to lock them either. The only place you did lock them is when you went to church. You'd have to lock them so they didn't have a lot of zucchini and squash in them when you come back out. So that was the only place we locked our doors. But other than that, we grew up in a great community, and it's changed a lot. And a lot of that change is the globalization coming into our community. I'm going to say there's a lot of things that I might talk about here today that are not exactly what most people think of when they think of affordable housing, but I think a lot of our issues come from the great big companies, the billion-dollar companies that come into our area, and it just costs more when they come in and do stuff. And I want to see local people develop their land. I don't want to see it being sold off to these great big companies that the money leaves our community. When the local person develops their land, that money stays here. The longer we can get a dollar to stay in our community, our communities become richer and wealthier in the things of the world that we can afford to live. But as we continue to buy into that, and as I look around, we have so many different places this has happened. We see all these franchise restaurants. You know, the mom and pop stores are dwindling and then that money goes, who knows where it goes. But that's one of the things that happens in our community, and that we need to be able to, each one of us, this is each one of our part. Each one of us can help do this, and myself. You know, try to patronize the local people and keep our money here, help people that are locals to develop their properties. And then also, I love Kevin's got some great ideas with his ADU stuff. I believe people ought to be able to do what they can with their property. And I know in Hurricane right now, they've passed some stuff that's saying if you have only 0.8 of an acre, if you don't have 0.8 of an acre, you can't build an ADU. And that's the way I understand it, but I want that to, if you can fit something in and work according to the regulations and that's another thing, regulations too. I think the government needs to stay out of the way as best they can. Let people work, let people develop what they can and help their families to live and to grow. And, you know, people work in steps. When I was first married, we bought a trailer, lived in a trailer for a couple years, sold that and bought a house. And it took these steps to get to where we are today. And that's what we have to be able to provide that. When people can provide that with an ADU in their yard, and the great thing about that is they live there, and they're going to be able to watch what's happening there and keep it on the up and up. But we need to be able to get back to our moral values we used to have, and that is going to be what strengthens us and come together as a community and look to build each other. Thank you very much. I appreciate being here, and thank you.
I'm Lynn Exel. I'm running for City Council for the City of Hurricane. Some of you may have heard my name. I'm a little notorious at times. I served for 38 years as a department head for Hurricane City as the police chief. I was also overseeing 3 other departments: emergency management, animal control, and school crossing. I retired out of Hurricane in November of 2024, and it was time to look at this whole thing, and I'm still what I consider healthy enough. And even though I think it's just my mind that's getting younger, I'm young enough that I can still serve and do things for the city of Hurricane. This subject of affordable housing, I've thought about it a great deal. Again, being a public servant for most of my life, I've always wanted to give back to the community and do things that help move people along, help people do things that are better. I've also owned businesses when I was in Hurricane as well too, and seen what business could do for improving the community, improving growth, helping things move forward in a direction. If anybody believes that any one of us are not going to grow, I think they're fooling themselves. We have been found, we've been discovered, and people love to come here. And that's because of each one of you, and I thank each one of you for that. You guys are doing a great job. I've dealt with real estate agents, I've dealt with builders, I've dealt with developers. They're all fantastic people, and they do great jobs to try to move people into our area to help them succeed and help them move forward. A couple of things that I think that we need to look at. Do I have the answers for affordable housing or housing? Probably not. But one of the things that I am a firm believer in is cooperation and coordination with our partners. I've done that over my entire life. I've coordinated with every agency from the federal government down to where we can improve things and make things better for our community. And I think there are builders, developers, product suppliers, loans, people that do loans, real estate agents, and even the citizens themselves that are trying to get into a home that I think we can coordinate and work together with and find those answers. I think that, as Clark Fawcett said, we've got to get all the players up to the table to where we can get the answers, we can find out what it is, we can talk to each one of you. Each one of you have concepts and ideas. I've always said I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to listen so that we can come up with those answers so we can move forward. I do believe the ADUs are a good option. I think there's something that's out there that I think is a good starter or a place where people can even retire and deal with, or if you don't want kids moving into your house, it's a great place to have them get a place to jumpstart and go. I've had kids live with me who have now bought homes and live in St. George or Hurricane or Tokerville, and they're very successful by doing that. But you've got to start out. You've got to start out slow. I think that we need to look at ways to help people. Are there government grants out there? Are there programs to help them? And if so, what can we do? In my position as running for city council, what can we do to help them get the education, the knowledge, and the assistance to make these things happen? Because a lot of times you talk about there are grants out there to helping with the down payment on a first home. How many people really know how to do that and what to do? So what can we do to help facilitate to where those things can happen? Government is not the answer to the problem. Government is just part of a solution to make these things happen. And I think together we can make those things happen. Again, thank you very much for all that each one of you do. I do appreciate it. One thing that Hurricane does have that I forgot to mention, Hurricane has one of the greatest corridors anywhere for our business district to improve. And one of the things that I think could really help us as we move forward is getting businesses, getting things to happen to where we can provide jobs for our young people, provide jobs for those that want those jobs and are willing to get out and work and do the things they need to do to succeed. But again, thank you for all you do. Keep up the good work. I really appreciate each one of you and everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Hurricane City candidates. We appreciate that. Next up is Washington City. As our city council candidates Kim Casperson, Ed Tracy, and Brett Henderson come to the stage, I'll reread the question again. What actions do you think your city could take to improve housing affordability for its current and future residents? And I will mention, I have someone standing in today for Mayor Crest-Staley. We have Kurt Ivey standing in for him. Sure. So you want to start with? That's fine.
May I use this? 3 minutes, Kurt. I can't.
He has a written
No,
statement. 2 minutes.
you know Mayor Staley's long-winded, so. Appreciate that. Words of encouragement. So I am Councilman Kurt Ivey, Washington City. I'm here representing our great Mayor Crest-Staley, who's on a family vacation with his family. He regrets not being here, but he wanted to share his appreciation as well as mine and our entire city, our council for SUHBA and for the Realtors Association and their stewardship in leading out on this candidate forum today and all the good that they do for our community. So I'm going to read a prepared statement from Mayor Staley. Washington City is actively pursuing innovative partnerships to improve housing affordability for current and future residents. A key example is the ongoing collaboration within the Coral Canyon Planned Community Development, PCD, involving the Trust Lands Administration, SITLA, and Cold West. Each partner is making a meaningful concession that directly reduces the overall cost for the end homeowner. As part of this partnership, Washington City has taken a lead role in brokering the agreement for traditional stick-built, single-family, detached homes and is contributing by approving additional density, increasing number of units than previously approved, higher density, reducing setbacks, and lessening amenity requirements other than requiring a trail connection. The city is also allowing access on Country Way rather than requiring a new access onto Telegraph, which would have necessitated a bridge or culvert. This decision represents nearly a $2 million in infrastructure savings, all while preserving the city's development standards and ensuring a seamless integration with the surrounding Coral Canyon community. This is the good part. The project will include approximately 220 single-family detached homes and already has, has already had PCD amendment and received zoning approval. SITLA is selling the property at a significantly reduced price. Now I'm going to read that again so it sinks in. This has been a long process for us. SITLA is selling the property at a significantly reduced land cost, and Coal West is accepting a substantial reduction for their profit margin, around half of what was normally to return to them, to make the homes more attainable. To maintain long-term affordability and community stability, the CCNRs will require that 90% or more of the homes be owner-occupied, not used as second homes, rentals, or vacation properties. Throughout collaborative efforts like this, Washington City is leading out by showing that creative partnerships and thoughtful planning can meaningfully improve housing affordability while upholding the city's quality of life and character. In Washington City, this is my words, not mayor's. In Washington City, we're very proud. Your topic today is what will we do? What we like to say is what we have done in leading the state in a lot of areas. We're very proud of that and our efforts there. One last comment that I'd like to make on more of a personal note. I hope that each of you have seen this on your table, the Charlie Kirk event. Please come to that event Monday night and support that effort. we love Charlie Kirk and what he stands for. We hope that we can carry on his legacy through meaningful debate and conversation. Thank you so much for being here. I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ed Tracy. Yes, that is a great event. It's also the same time as our debate, and we've already agreed we're going to be the only 3 people there on Monday night. So I'm running for city council. I wasn't born and raised here, but I've been here a few years. I grew up in a small town just east of here called New York City. 11 million people. I was raised in a house where my grandparents lived, right? They lived upstairs. If you see the opening to Archie Bunker in that house, that was our house, right? Grandparents upstairs, my mom and dad, and all 5 kids in one room, 1 bathroom. That's how you did it back then, right? And if we don't figure out how to figure out this affordable housing thing, that's how we're going to do it here at some point. That's what's going to happen. I don't have the answers. I'm not a real estate agent, I'm not a developer, but I do know that people come here to enjoy this life, this lifestyle, and they can't afford $1 million homes. We have some homes that are being built, like D.R. Horton out in Long Valley. They're building some homes that people can afford. But the guys like me who have, 4 kids and don't make a lot of money, we want to have a house that we can call our own, right? And the gentleman that's from Hurricane that said he bought a trailer and stepped it up, that's what a lot of people do. But even trailers these days are $125,000, right? Unless you live in an old trailer and you don't tell anybody where you live, right? We need to do something, obviously. We need to have more affordable homes. And 220 homes is a great start. But we're in the fastest, or one of the fastest growing communities in the nation. And people are coming here, and they're coming here fast, right? 2 things they say. We can't afford to live here, and now that we bought, nobody else can move here. We need to find some solutions, obviously. I run the Chamber of Commerce in Washington. I'm very much a small business kind of guy. We need small business, obviously. That helps with taxes. It helps the community. We live in a community where people say Hurricane's too far to drive to Washington, right? Go figure. But we need local business that helps the community. We need the opportunity for those businesses not only to come here, but to thrive. And that's up to us. And when we have affordable homes, people can go out and spend a little bit of money. I love the idea of ADUs, right? Not everybody wants to live in a neighborhood where there's a bunch of casitas in the back. But if you're the homeowner, you get to choose who lives back there, right? We need stuff like that. I love this community. If you've ever been to the Hot Air Balloon Festival, Music in the Park, Oktoberfest, that's us. That's the Chamber. We put on all that stuff for the community to give people something to do, something to say, this is a great community to live in. And if we have the right place for them to live and they can afford it, they'll stay. That's it. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Casperson. It's so good to see so many people here involved. I feel like it's so important for us to be involved in our communities and stand for liberty and the values that have made this place such a wonderful place to live and where we want to raise our families. The urgency that I felt and the pull that I felt to get involved in local government was 4 years ago when we had all those unconstitutional mandates. And ever since I've been elected, I've been standing for liberty and for freedom and for property rights. And this issue of affordability for housing is something that has impacted all of us, I'm sure. Our family has had to save a lot for a long time to be able to get into our first home. And Washington City has done a lot of things in this area to make a difference. There's some things that are outside of our control. One of the issues that we faced when we were building our home is the high interest rates. I wish the federal government could have a nice balanced budget like Washington City does. But what we have done in Washington City is we have kept taxes low. That's one thing we've done. And every time we discuss our budgets, that's always a goal of mine, to keep our taxes low, keep money into all of our pockets. Another thing that we worked on is loosening the restrictions with ADUs, and then we've also made changes to our processes with streamlining of processes and cutting regulation. And then, as our Councilman Ivy mentioned, there's areas in the city where we can look at having smaller lots and smaller homes and reducing the setbacks that we have. And I'm really excited about the project that we just approved recently, working with SITLA and having them take a smaller profit for what they usually take on. It's nearly 50% that they're going to be doing for their reduced profits that they're going to take for that development. And so I hope that we can all continue to work together on this issue. It's an important issue, and I hope that we can all continue to work together to stand for our liberties and our freedom. And I feel like all of us have felt that pull, even with recent events that have happened. And so I appreciate you all being here and being engaged, and continue to work together as a community to address these important issues. Thank you.
Good morning. We're happy to be here with you today. My name is Brett Henderson, and I've been on City Council with Kim for 4 years, and I'm hoping to have another 4 years. Out in the hallway, I met one of my friends, Brett Robinson, out there, and he said, "I hardly recognize you in your suit." And that's because he sees me most days in my work clothes covered in dust. So Rachel and I, my wife Rachel and I, our profession is home building and real estate. We own a small little construction company that I run, and we own a small little real estate brokerage that she runs. And I had one of my electricians a few weeks ago came up and talked to me, and he said, "Hey, I've got my journeyman's license and whatever the highest license is for electricians," and he says, "I'm tapped out on as high as I can go on my salary, and I still can't afford a home." So it is a problem here. And so I want to tell you a little bit about my philosophy on affordable housing. One thing is, government is not the solution. The free market is the solution, but the one thing government can do is get out of the way. And in Washington City, for the last 4 years, since Kim and I have been on the city council, that is exactly what we have tried to do. We have tried to remove roadblocks. We have tried to simplify. We have tried to do everything we can do to let the free market take over. 4 years ago, when Kim and I got on the city council, Washington City was not friendly at all towards ADUs. And we've turned that around in the last 4 years. We are very friendly with ADUs now. We welcome ADUs into our city. 4 years ago, as some of you know, our building department and our planning department sometimes was not that great to work with. Some of you guys know that. We have made tremendous strides in that department. They are much easier to work with now, and we are working with them and some of the new staff that we have to simplify things, to make things easier. We want to have a staff that values service to the community and service to our builders and our developers that we work with. We're a team. The last thing I'll talk about, my friend Kevin Thomas mentioned it from Hurricane, is an R14 zoning. And we love that idea in Washington as well. We need to look to the future. Smaller lots, we need to start looking at those. And what he said about, an R14 zoning, the smallest zoning we have right now in Washington for straight zoning is R16, so 6,000 square feet. We really need to have a straight zoning for 4,000 square foot lots. When I first started building homes 32 years ago, most of the homes we built were 1,200 square feet, 1,600 square feet. I remember the first 2,400 square foot house I built, I thought it was a mansion, right? And we need to get back to some of that. And what the government can do is be much more friendly towards builders, towards developers, what can we do is what our attitude should be instead of what you can't do, right? And so that's what I would like to do if I get reelected for 4 more years. I'd like to continue the progress that we've made in Washington, because we've made a lot of progress in a lot of different ways over the last 4 years. Appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Washington City. We appreciate that. We are going to hear from Ivins City next. While they're coming up, I will announce their names and reread the question. We have Shad Johnson, Mike Scott, and Dylan Hurt. Wayne Pennington is also running. He's not able to be here, so when it's time at the end, when these 3 are finished, we will have Chad Snow come up and read his statement, or he's on his way up now. Great, perfect. Okay, I will pass off the microphone. You guys probably remember, what actions do you think your city could take to improve housing affordability for its current and future residents?
All right, I'll go first. I'm Shad Johnson. First of all, thanks to SUHBA and the WCBR for putting this on. It's a nice forum, nice opportunity to hear from the other cities a little bit. By the way, unlike Brett, I didn't get the memo on the dress code. I went to the job site this morning and I didn't feel like I could go in a tie, so that's why I'm here like this. So I'm a kitchen designer, been doing kitchen design for 31 years. I own a trade company that provides cabinets and appliances to contractors. I'm a big believer in good, better, best concepts when working with clients, and I think that we can kind of look at that too with our situation with housing right now as well. I believe that unusual needs require unusual solutions. I'm not afraid to throw out creative and unusual ideas. I don't mind if the ideas are a bunch of baloney, but if they're good, then great, let's roll with them, right? I also believe that we can solve this need. I've seen some miracles happen by working with people. I really, really appreciate SUHBA. Our organization does a lot of miracles in our community. I think with just a little bit of ingenuity and a will, right? If there's a will, there's a way. We can make this happen. We can find solutions to these needs. I don't believe all my ideas are applicable for all applications, but I think that they might be good. One thing I really like about, I think it might be Hurricane, correct me if I'm wrong, that allows 2 ADUs on the property. St. George? Oh, thank you, Natalie. You would say that, huh? So, okay, so both one for nightly rental and one for long-term, is that kind of the goal? I love the idea. My kids right now could afford that if they consider the rental from those towards their mortgage, certain types of size homes. So I love that option. I like the idea of reducing restrictions. I was really disappointed to hear. It was a couple years ago we were doing a class, and they were talking about when you build an apartment complex in Utah, 49% of all of your costs go to restrictions and red tape. Isn't that sad? Almost a half of all the costs. We've got to make some changes there. Automate, simplify, innovate, get rid of, right? We got to make it easier for people to get into houses. I do like some of the programs like Self-Help Homes and St. George Housing Authority. What I almost wonder if it'd be an option to have deed restrictions on those so that whatever percentage they were able to get in the market when they got into their home, when that house goes to sell again, the deed restriction restricts the percentage to the same percentage. So we can perpetuate the affordability of that property. Amazon, I see, is selling houses for $19,000, kit homes. I don't know if that's the solution for all situations, but it's kind of clever. I believe one thing is for certain, though. We've got to do everything we can to keep from raising property taxes. Shad Johnson, running for Ivins City Council. Thank you.
My name's Mike Scott. The 3 of us and Wayne were all running for city council. Kevin Smith was going to be here. He's running for mayor unopposed. He's had a recent Achilles heel injury, and he's finding it a lot harder to move around than he thought. So up till about a half an hour ago, he was planning to be here, but he just can't make it. He just didn't learn. He had this accident at the senior games, playing basketball a little too aggressively. I guess he didn't understand the term senior games. He just won't slow down. So he wants to yield his 3-minute time to his opponent. He doesn't have one, right? So I'm going to give you just a little Ivins data, because our perspective here is what's happening in Ivins. So we talk a lot about affordable or attainable housing, but what about habitable, survivable, paycheck possible, and even adorable. So until we look at the real world, we're just talking. Richmond American is selling new homes in Ivins right now, and the ones that I looked at on their website a number of days ago, the median price was about $635,000. Another developer is proposing to build new homes in Ivins for about $525,000. One of the differences between the two is the Richmond American homes are on 7,500 square foot lots approximately, and the developer that wants to build at 525 would like to get lots down to about 5,000 square feet to be able to make that happen. The governor wants us to create starter homes selling for $450,000 or less. So there's three sets of numbers, and it's particularly hard in Ivins to deal with affordability or attainability because of our land costs. And the other thing is how do even these prices actually work for buyers in Ivins. So I looked at Black Desert Resort's website. They're hiring a lot of people, and they've got postings on their website for cooks, security staff, accountants, IT staff, supervisors, and so on. So let's just assume a two-income household is trying to buy a home in Ivins, and they both get jobs at Black Desert. So based on the job listings, I've got 45 different job combinations that two-income household could have. 73% of them would qualify for the governor's $450,000 starter home, but only 22% would qualify for the $525,000 home, which is a really, really good price in Ivins. And just one two-income household qualifies for the $635,000 home that's on the market now. And even that is a really, really good price in Ivins. And that one two-income household, they would both be staff accountants at Black Desert. So here's a twist. SUHBA, along with a developer, is doing something similar to what you heard about in Washington, although we're much earlier in the process. They're looking at building 254 homes, not in Ivins, but right next to Ivins. We'd have to annex it, on 3,000 to 4,000 square foot lots. The homes would range from 1,000 square feet to 1,200 square feet. And the price tag they're shooting for is $360,000, with SUHBA giving concessions and the developer giving concessions. So looking at that, 44 out of the 45 job combinations at Black Desert would find that affordable. So yes, the real question that's been out there for a long time is settled. Size does matter. Lot size and house size. So typical new homes, as you've heard, were a lot smaller many years ago. The first half of the 20th century, they bounced around 1,600 square feet. And then decade by decade after that, they shot up. Currently, they're about 2,400, little over 2,400 square feet. That's about a 50% more. So no wonder affordability has sort of gone out the window. We've supersized the American dream. So if we really want homes that people can truly afford, we need to reduce the size of the homes, not just make lots smaller, although that will help. I do think that we need to work with developers in a creative way to allow extra density for a proposed development, but in turn require those homes to be affordable in the $425 or $450 price range, sort of the governor's target. I don't think we'd even have to require them to be smaller if you get enough density in the 5,000 square foot lot range, or maybe it needs to be a little smaller than that. Builders will likely just make the homes smaller so that they can make some of those homes in the 400 and 450 price range work in their plans. So smaller homes give first-time buyers and local workers, which we really need to think about too, a fighting chance. And they help build real neighborhoods, not just developments, where families at different income levels can live and work together. Thank you.
My name is Dylan Hurt, and the number one question that I get asked when I'm out in the community knocking on doors is, how old are you? And I am 31 years old, and I'm going to give you 31 seconds today. There's been a lot of things said, but I want to start by thanking RPAC and SUHBA for the support. You've been instrumental in my campaign. It's great to have Susie and Robert and Ivins and backing and supporting of experts that are truly aware of the housing crisis that we're facing. This hits home because it's specific to my demographic. The younger people are struggling to find homes. First-time home buyers, the median age is 38 years old. And so I think that a lot of valuable insights and ideas have been shared, but I also think it's important that we set the groundwork early. The younger generations need to be educated on what really is expected for a first-time home. We don't need to be showing off mansions and blowing up unrealistic expectations for what a first-time home should be, and I think social media is unfortunately a toxic reason for that. They have these unrealistic expectations of what they're going to get themselves into. And so I think if we start educating the youth, if we show off that two-bedroom, one-bathroom house is okay, you know, it's acceptable, there's nothing to be ashamed of, or just give approvance on smaller, affordable homes and mainstream it can go a long ways. And so again, there's been a lot of things shared, a lot of great ideas. I don't want to take up any more time, but I appreciate you all and grateful to be here.
All right, I am here reading this on behalf of Wayne Pennington. He says, "Thank you for allowing me to respond remotely on this topic. It is one of the biggest, most divisive questions facing the city of Ivins today. Some people want to limit growth while encouraging affordable housing for young families. We all know that it is not how the fair market works in a world of supply and demand. But we all honestly want Ivins City to maintain its character, while also encouraging young families to be able to live here. Nobody intends Ivins to become a retirement community. The biggest problem facing affordable housing in Ivins is the cost of land, along with certain zoning conditions. This encourages developers to create ever more expensive home sites. We cannot reduce land cost, but we can make it easier for developers. The addition of auxiliary dwelling units to single-family homes has recently been approved, but that does not help new developments, which is where any significant impact will take place. One recent example involves modest two-family homes proposed on quarter-acre lots for a few parcels between Kayenta and Old Highway 91. The proposal called for maintaining the Kayenta style, which includes low stucco houses built partly into the ground to protect the views of Red Mountain, and conservation of the desert landscape. Sounds like a no-brainer, right? But it's not that simple. In Ivins City, in order for the parcel to be zoned for two-family homes, the land use plan would need to be revised to high-density residential for these parcels. This would also permit extremely dense multi-unit structures, and nobody in Ivins wants this, at least not at this location. The problem is that the land use plan has classifications that each contain a number of zoning options, and as long as developers' request is for any of the zoning options included within that classification, the city's hands are tied, and they must approve the request, requiring any future application for much more dense housing that may come up at this location to be permitted. The problem is a systemic one created by the classification system that our predecessors in the Ivins City government created. We can remedy this just as we created it, and that must be done soon by the next city council. The solution is indeed simple. A previous city council created this system, and a new city council can change it. Either move the zoning to a zoning appropriate for two-family homes on quarter-acre lots from high to medium density residential land, or create new land use classifications for more than 2 units per building, such as townhomes. Of course, the devil is in the details. Any such reclassification would need to be evaluated carefully with citizen input, developer input, and surveys of other cities and zoning land use relationships. This position is not a popular one, although many people insist that they would like new homes to be affordable by young families. Almost any concrete proposal to achieve this goal is met with derision. In fact, my support of two-family homes on quarter-acre lots has already cost me many votes, being labeled as a supporter of multi-housing. Oh well, nobody said that it would be easy. Thank you for your attention. I look forward to working with diverse groups, including yourselves, if elected to the City Council.
Thank you so much, Ivins City candidates. Appreciate it. We are now going to hear from Santa Clara City. We're going to start with Jarrett and Ben Shakespeare, Jarrett Waite and Ben Shakespeare, who are running for mayor, and then we'll follow up with the city council candidates after that if they want to go ahead and hop up. Mark Hendrickson, who is also running for city council, is unable to be here. He had to run to a funeral. He was here earlier, and Susie Appel will step in and give his statement as well. So I will turn this over to Jarrett.
All right, thank you very much. We'll have a seat here. We will try to stay at our 3 minutes, I promise. We can get to St. George, the real show here. So yeah, I'm Jarrett Waite, running for mayor of Santa Clara. I've been on the council for 10 years and loved every minute of it. There's lots of bad stuff with council, and I know there'll be lots of bad stuff with mayor, but there's so much fulfillment with it as well. So I just want to share a quick anecdote of something that's happening right now in Santa Clara that's in my neighborhood that really does affect affordability. So on the council, a couple years ago, we approved a 200-unit townhome development. Each unit is platted individually. Everything was going to be for sale. It was sold to the council as an affordable project. And we had just finished an affordable townhome project nearby that turned out really, really well. Well, through a different course of events, it was sold to a different company, and eventually all the units sold to one entity, and the entire 200 units are up for rent. You might have seen it across from Lava Ridge up there. And it's in my neighborhood, so I see this all the time where a wonderful family moves in, they're looking to live in Santa Clara, their one-year renewal comes up, and the rent is jacked up $500, and it's just not even close to what they can afford, they have to move. So, and the way I look at this is we kind of live in a broken system where if you're looking for an income property, if a corporation's looking for a good investment, you go for the lowest, easiest to maintain property, and that's usually townhomes, right? So, and I'm leaving this right now. I received an inheritance recently and went to our financial advisor and was told, buy a townhome. That's the easiest way to make money from your money. So realistically, I think either we have to have a whole lot more supply, which our governor's talked about a lot. We're way behind in our home development, unfortunately, in Santa Clara and really Washington County. We're out of land. You know, there's not a whole lot of big, huge plots left, especially in Santa Clara. And so one thing that I really want input from you on, I'm getting blasted a little bit on social media because of this, but I really want to consider what kind of deed restrictions might help with affordability. It's been mentioned earlier, maybe it's tied, you can only buy that home if you're a teacher or a policeman or a fireman, something like that, or maybe there's something tied to